Welcome to our lovely church of St. Therese of Lisieux here in England, Barwick. It's only been open for 4 years and it's very beautiful, very new, very modern. We're here in the porch and we're welcoming you with the statue of St. Therese, our patroness, and it's obviously very bright, very airy. It lifts us up and it takes our eye up towards God immediately, so you're immediately welcomed into the family of God and into the family of our parish. So you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy your visit. As we enter the main body of the church, we can see over here on the left the confessional door, which is where our penitents, the parishioners who feel the need to confess their sins, come to be forgiven by the priest. And the priest sits on the other side of the confessional in this door, and beside it you can see the commission of myself as a missionary of mercy, which gives me the power to absolve particularly serious sins which other priests don't have, commissioned by Pope Francis himself. As we come into the centre of the church, we see the font. Font means literally fountain, and it's where we baptise babies. It's shaped like a rose, and St. Therese always promises if she's going to answer a prayer, then she will send a rose. So you will find the rose reflected in our church in many different places. And once the water is blessed, when we use it for baptism, then every parishioner uses it to bless themselves as they come into church. And now as we turn to look at the front of the church, we can see, especially of note, the stained glass window, which comes from the St. John of God Hospital, which was run by an order of brothers until they decided to leave the diocese when most of them got too old. So it's great to have that sense of continuity and also something new within one of the oldest churches in the diocese and one of the newest churches in the diocese. If we look at the layout of the sanctuary means the place where the action of the Mass takes place. We see on the left the lectern, which has a sword in it because St. Paul refers to the Word of God as the sword of the Word. And it cuts through into our deepest hearts. The Word of God convinces of all kinds of things. When we move to the middle where we see the altar, again we see the rose of St. Therese reflected once more, and also in the candlestick at the side of the altar. Finally, moving over to the stand for the tabernacle, we see the Word was made flesh and he lived among us. We believe that at Mass, the bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus. And after the Mass, if there are any particles left, then we contain them in the tabernacle. The tabernacle comes from the Jewish word meaning tent, because during the Old Testament, when the Ark of God was being taken around the desert, it was kept under a tabernacle. And so we still keep the presence of God in our tabernacle today. So if we move now to our chair, which is where I'll preside at Mass. The minister acts in the person of Jesus, and so preside over the Mass and invite people to come into God's presence. You can see either side as well, there are 2 seats for 2 deacons, should we get anybody who would like to help to minister within the church. In this corner of the church in particular, you can see that we store the Easter candle, the Paschal candle, which we light for funerals, for baptisms, and also throughout the Easter season. It's a symbol of Christ's risen light shining in the hearts of all of the faithful. And also in this corner we have the musicians' corner, they tend to play here. And then we have the statue of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and St. Therese of Lisieux was a Carmelite nun, and so that's why the statue of Our Lady is a representation of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And on the walls all around the church you will find what we call the Stations of the Cross, which remind us of Jesus' journey to Calvary, which he died and eventually rose again. And it's 14 stopping stations, which are mirrored in Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem. And medieval pilgrims used to do this journey when they couldn't make the pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And so now, very common during Lent, we do the Stations of the Cross to remind us of Jesus' suffering and death for each of us. In this corner of the church, we see the symbol of Christ's love for us, the Sacred Heart. He appeared to a 16th century nun, St. Margaret Mary Alacoque, and said, "This is a symbol of God's love for the world," and so displayed very commonly in many Catholic churches. And it's custom in the Catholic Church to light a candle. If we don't have time to pray for somebody, you don't have time to spend lots of time in prayer, then we will light a candle and say a prayer for them and leave that candle burning as a sign that the prayers continue to arise to God in heaven. Here in the vestibule where we were earlier, you can find the entrances to our 2 meeting rooms. This one is St. Louis Martin, and the one over here, St. Zélie Martin. and they are the mother and father of St. Therese, who were actually so holy that most of their daughters became nuns, and 2 or 3 of the other daughters are on the way to sanctity as well, and they're going to be canonised as well as the mum and dad. Very, very holy family. And in this room we have what takes place here is our catechesis, teaching people about the faith. And so we have our children's liturgy on a Sunday morning for children aged from 3 up until about 8 or 9. We also have baptism preparation takes place in here, confirmation preparation, and the Holy Communion, because it's so big, actually takes place in the school, which is fortunate enough to be right next door to our church. And this room tends to be more the social event area of the parish, and our coffee morning on a Sunday takes place in here, and also we have quizzes and countdowns and all kinds of things take place in this room. As you can see, we even employ child labour to help clean the tables, so that's very good. And as we proceed now, we go towards the working end of the parish, if you like, and we pass our disabled facilities, and also we have up-to-date toilet facilities which use grey water, and all the collected rainwater is very ecological. We have a little kitchen which we can use to help on our fundraising evenings. And then we proceed eventually into the sacristy, which is where we keep the things for Mass. So we have, for example, our altar service vestments are all in these cupboards. And also we have my vestments as well. So these are the things that we will use for saying Mass. We're also very lucky in the parish to have another meeting room upstairs, which we have for Bible study and for other meetings when the other 2 rooms downstairs are being used. It's also the place where we store our projector, which you can see here, stays in the art, and we bring our First Communion children up here sometimes to watch what's happening at Mass, to be able to explain to them. And over the altar, in the black line there is actually a screen which descends. We use it for presentation evenings, for showing things on the computer. We use hymn words. The school uses it very much for doing their celebrations in the church. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. It's been great showing you around our church. Do remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, and our homilies are posted every week on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you.